Hi guys, my name is Ashley and I'm a mom of two little girls. I have a 2.5-year-old toddler named Kylie and I also have an 8-month-old baby named Mia. Now I've been doing Montessori at home with my children since my toddler was 6 months old. And for a very long time, the playroom that I am sitting in was entirely hers and I only had her needs to think about. But now that we have another baby who is very slowly but surely becoming more and more mobile as every day passes, I'm now needing to consider all of her needs as well and trying to creatively figure out how I can provide for both my toddler and my baby while making sure that everything is safe for the baby but still accessible for my toddler. And it is a little bit of a challenge, and I know that I'm probably not even into the most challenging part of it yet because our baby is not quite yet fully crawling and pulling up on things, but she is almost there, and she does scoot herself around so she is able to get to everything in the playroom at her own will. So we've already kind of started experiencing a little bit of that. So from one busy parent to another, today I'd like to take you guys on a little tour of my Montessori toddler and baby shared playroom. So before I actually show you guys around the room, which we're gonna do in just a minute, I wanted to add one thing. There are a couple of different ways that you could go about accommodating both a baby and a toddler. And the first one, and the easiest one probably, is just to make sure that any activities that have small parts, or maybe they're messy, or it's something that you don't want a baby to eat, if they are getting into it unattended, you can keep those things above their level. So like on higher shelves or at the top of shelves. Another way that I've seen it done is to just have the activities that are not okay for a baby to get into out at all, and maybe keep those in a separate room of the house. For example, if you do happen to use your toddler's room, like their bedroom, for activities of any kind, maybe they have a little separate workspace set up in their room for those types of activities. But otherwise, anything that would be like a shared activity or a shared toy, or like I said, anything that is safe for the baby to get into, that would be what you primarily keep out in the playroom. So you're going to see as I walk around, the approach that we have taken, at least for the time being, is to have things that are not appropriate for the baby at a higher level. Now, once she starts pulling up on furniture and she is able to get to those higher shelves, then we are most definitely going to need to reassess where some of these items are located. But for the time being, the last couple of months and right now, this is what's working for us. Okay, so here's kind of like an overview of the entire playroom area. And right now it's just almost Christmas, so we have our Christmas tree set up, and this area is a lot more crowded than it normally is. Usually the slide is kind of where the tree is, and we have a lot more open space right here behind this window for some of the larger items. So it is a little bit more cramped than I'm used to, and actually the dress-up bin that's over there is normally over there as well. And right here behind me is Kylie's art area. As you can see, it's kind of overtaken with some of her artwork right now that she wants to hang up, but we'll get into more detail as to what's in the cart in just a minute. So as I said, right over here, this is just a little wooden box that has all of her dress up items in it. So just, you know, things for pretend play, because she is 2.5 and she's very into that right now. So we've got, you know, like tutus and all kinds of play scarves and a little play silk streamer and her pumpkin bucket from Halloween, which she uses to like transport things all the time. Necklaces, little hats, a fun noodle, basically anything that she would use for pretend play and dress up, we keep here in this bin. And again, she's very into pretend play right now, so this bin gets visited regularly throughout the day. So right next to that is her play kitchen, and I will leave a link to this particular one down below. I've actually had people in previous tours comment on the fact that it's pink. I did not pick out pink specifically. This one actually happened to be on crazy sale. My husband found it online for a really good deal, and it was only in the pink color. And I figured, you know, we have girls, so it really wasn't a big deal. So that's how we ended up with a pink kitchen. But I certainly think that even if you have a little boy at home, having a pretend kitchen is an awesome addition to a playroom. I did put some artwork over here on the side for her to look at. This used to be in her snack area when she was littler, and we loved talking about all the different names of the various fruits and vegetables. This was just something that I found on Google Images, and I just printed it out and laminated it so that it wouldn't fall apart. And I don't know, I like it, so I didn't have the heart to get rid of it. And when I redid her snack area, I moved it over here to her kitchen. So this kitchen is wood for the most part. There's a couple pieces like the handles and stuff that are made of plastic, but it is a wood play kitchen, which I really like about it. I did add these baskets that I got from, I want to say Home Goods a long time ago. They came as like a little nested set, and the sizes that it came with were perfect for each of the little cubbies here. So in this basket, I just keep like a bunch of different cooking tools. A lot of the things that are in here are actual real like kitchen tools. Like this is our sushi roller. And some of them are like pretend play, little oven mitt and things that she's gotten as part of other sets. Inside the little fridge, we just keep some plush food from IKEA and some felt food that she was gifted for, I think, her birthday last year from the Target dollar spot. But just some plush food items for her to play with in there. In the top, we keep more plush food apparently, and a little plastic dollar store like caddy that she refers to as her shopping basket, like if you were to go grocery shopping. So we keep that in there also. This basket down here just has a bunch of like actual baby cloth rag things from when Kylie was a baby, and now we actually use these as napkins. So at dinner time, if she makes a mess at all, like on the table, she spills something, she knows that she can run over here and grab one of her napkins and use it to clean up. So even though it's in her pretend kitchen, she actually uses these like on the daily. I also really like that these two bins are down here because Mia actually likes to come over here, and she's learned that she can pull these bins out and pull all the cloths out of it, or pull all the little tools that are in there out of there. And it's kind of like accidental treasure baskets for her, I guess. So that has been really fun too. And then up here she has some pots and pans, some of which are over in her art cart right now because she uses them for her kinetic sand, but usually they're hanging up here. She does have a little hand broom, and she uses this to help me clean up crumbs, not just for pretend play, like for real actual cleaning. And also a little apron hanging right here, which she doesn't really like to wear because it's very big on her, but even though it's for kids, she's still kind of small, so it's kind of big on her. But I'm envisioning her actually using this in the kitchen for when we're baking together as it starts to fit her a little bit better. But right now she wears it just kind of randomly on occasion for pretend play. I do think it's worth pointing out that in Montessori, a pretend kitchen is not technically part of that philosophy, because the idea is if they can do the real thing, like actual baking, actual cooking with real food items, then there really isn't a need for something like this. And I 100% agree with that because she loves helping me in the real kitchen with real food. But I've found honestly that on her own, she loves pretending. Like that's just the phase that she's in right now as a toddler. And this has been very beneficial to have. She loves pretending to cook and do her own thing down at her level. Even though we have the kitchen set up for her to access it, I still feel like she enjoys having this around. So I'm glad that it's part of our playroom personally. I also have seen some people who have hacked their kitchen with like an actual water pump in the sink so they can do real dishes, usually on the IKEA play kitchen, the one that they use for that. But ours is just a little bit too small for that. And I also don't want water like in the playroom, not in the kitchen. And we do not have space for something like this in our kitchen. So we have not gone the IKEA play kitchen hack route. So next to the play kitchen is a small shelf that I added not too long ago, probably when Mia was just like maybe 2 or 3 months old. And it's actually really tiny. I mean, you can see the level of this windowsill comes up to like just above my knee, and the shelf is actually below my knee. So it's a really tiny shelf. We got it from IKEA. I believe it's part of the IKEA TV unit, the LAC series, and it was really cheap. We got it on sale for I think $15 when they were having a sale one day on a bunch of their living room furniture. I feel like this shelf is ideal for smaller babies because of how small it is. So this has kind of turned into Mia's shelf. I didn't buy it for that purpose, but that's what it turned into. So you can see Mia has a bunch of the activities that I showed recently in her 6 to 9 months video. That was not on there at the time. This is something that Kylie uses too, so that's why it's up at her height. But I've got the ring stacker with the wooden rings on it instead of the rainbow discs because that's kind of more advanced. and the little egg and cup 3D puzzle, as well as her 3-piece circle puzzle with the large, medium, and small pieces on it. This is just a wooden alphabet board by Hape, and Kylie uses this, but sometimes I will actually pull it down on the ground for Mia, and she just likes to do this with the pieces, and it seems like she really enjoys it and gets a lot out of it, so she does use this actually. And then on this lower shelf here, we have a couple more activities. I just have a little basket with some things that I kind of rotate. Right now it's got her bell cylinder in it, as well as a set of interlocking discs and a wooden baby rattle, which she has just discovered like noise making cause and effect and really enjoys it, so I kept that in there. There's her little wooden pop-up toy with, actually let me show you, the little pieces go boing out of there. There's like a little spring inside each hole. Right now she's just working on pulling the pieces out and chewing on them and just kind of watching when I make them pop for her, but eventually she'll learn how to use this on her own. And then I just have a little treasure basket with some kitchen utensils in there that she likes to explore. They have a variety of shapes and textures and things like that. And she does have the ability to pull these things off by herself. Now she doesn't pull up on furniture yet, she's not quite there, but again the shelf is low enough to the ground that she can reach her little arm up and pull these things down with no problem. These ones up here I have to take down for her right now, but once she does start pulling up, then she'll be able to get to them with no problem by herself. This basket down here is not for toys. This is just for diapers and wipes and stuff for Mia because I change her a lot in the playroom. Kylie's watering can that she uses to help me water all the plants in the front yard during the springtime is usually stored right up here on the shelf where she can get to it. Obviously it's winter right now. You can see there's snow outside, so we're not using it, but it does live right there. And then over here we have our like main shelf, I guess, that we've had for a really long time. So I'll start at the top. We've got some artwork up here, just some nature inspired prints that I found on Google Images, and I just printed out for myself and put them in some frames from the dollar store, and we like them. I know there are some people who will rotate the artwork like seasonally and stuff. I've never really bothered to do that. I think it's more of a personal preference, but those are the prints that I have, and they are down, let me stand up here, they are down like at, you know, a child's eye level, so they're not really for adults more so than they are for the children to appreciate beauty, and that's why they're at that level. Here we have our golden pothos plant that is a vining plant, so as you can see it's gotten really long over here. I have had some people talk about the fact that this plant in particular is poisonous. I'm aware of that, but I don't ever let the vines hang down where the babies can pull them off and eat them or anything like that, and I do keep it trimmed basically with the exception of the one vine that goes across this way, so not really a concern. And Kylie does help me water the plant when it needs water, and she really likes it, so it's teaching care of environment. I just added a couple little Christmas decorations to her playroom just to kind of give her a little bit of holiday cheer as well, because I know somebody's gonna ask me about it. I talked about this in my recent Q&A video, but in Montessori, Santa is usually not encouraged because he's a fictional character. It goes along with the whole no fantasy under the age of 6 thing because it's hard for them to distinguish, but in our family, we do include Santa as part of our Christmas holiday, and Kylie really enjoys it, so I picked up this cute little Letters to Santa mailbox at Target for her this year. It is functional, so she enjoys pretending to use it, and that's why I decided to keep it in her playroom. So on to the activity shelves. So like I said earlier, Kylie's stuff for the most part is on the top, especially if there's any activities out that I don't want Mia getting into quite yet. We keep them up here. And then the bottom shelf is stuff that is for Kylie, but also for Mia, and it's okay if she gets into any of those things, with the exception of this one right here. This is Mia's spinning glitter drum that has a mirror on one side, and the only reason that I have it over here, to be honest, is because it doesn't fit under there or on that shelf. It only fits up here, and I want her to be able to use it now whenever she wants to, and she can scoot herself over here and play with it, and if I see her doing that, I'll help her pull it out. So that is for Mia. Everything else is kind of intended for Kylie, but again, it's okay if Mia uses it. So right now, Kylie is very into vehicles. Actually, I say right now, she has always been into vehicles. She loves cars and trucks and construction vehicles and anything like that. So this is just our small collection of different vehicles that she has gotten since she was born, basically, just all in one little box for her to play with. and I'm actually getting her a set of roads for Christmas to use them on. So she's gonna have a lot of fun with those, even more so than she already has coming up soon. In this cubby right here, Kylie also really enjoys puzzles, and I actually just realized I meant to put these pieces in a basket. Because that's how I normally have them stored, but I went looking for another basket kind of like that one earlier and realized I'm out. So right now they're kind of in the board, but typically you would want them in a basket, because if the puzzle is already done like this, it's not very inviting for the child to pull it out and want to complete. So actually I'll do it right now while I'm talking to you guys. Usually I will have the pieces, even if they're not in a basket, I will have them unassembled, because like I said, it's a lot more inviting for the child. It's almost like a little challenge or an invitation, like, hey, come put me together, and it makes them want to do it more than if it's already just sitting there already done on the shelf for them. So if I don't have a basket, then that's how I will do it. So that's her puzzle that she's working on right now. She really enjoys jigsaw puzzles, and I believe this one is a 24-piece puzzle. She started out with 2-piece puzzles when she was littler, and then we kind of moved up to, I think, 12-piece puzzles, and now she's on these ones, and she really likes them. So these are just the ones that are by Melissa and Doug. They have a whole bunch of different themes, so you can find whichever ones your child is interested in, and she really loves ocean animals, so that's why we got this one for her. In this cubby next to it, we have a set of Peekaboo sound boxes. Now, the company that makes her learning tower also makes a variety of wooden toys for children, and that's Guidecraft, and so they sent us a set of these Peekaboo boxes for Kylie, and these are really interesting. What they are is just a set of little boxes that make different sounds. So like this one makes kind of a slightly jingly noise because there's bells on the inside, but then say this one right here has one single larger bell, so it makes a very different tone. And then I think some of the other ones even have like wood. Yeah, that's like a little wooden peg inside that one. And the idea is that the child has to shake each one in turn and match up the different sounds. So there are sets of sounds in here, 6 different ones to be exact. So it's a sound matching game, I guess. And Kylie really enjoys the challenge of this, and this definitely is still very challenging for her to do. So we just recently pulled this back out because the first time that I introduced it to her, I don't think she really understood the concept, and now she does. So this is back out on her shelf. And I will put links to all of these things down below for you guys in my Amazon storefront. And for things like this that are not on Amazon, I will put a direct link to where you can find those. Next to her sound boxes, I have her language baskets or tray, and right now I have a couple of different sandpaper letters in there that she hasn't really worked with yet. We've done a couple of other sets of letters, and these are the ones that I pulled out next for her. She has been very interested in sounds, letter sounds, again lately, and the whole tracing action. She was never very good at it when she was younger, and she's starting to get really good at it. So we just brought out a brand new set of letters for her to work on. And if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about how to use sandpaper letters with your child, I will leave a link down below to a video that I did specifically on that topic. Okay, so moving back over here, you can see again that I've got Mia's spinning drum there. Next to it, I have a little basket of musical instruments. I've shown these before because they're the only instruments we have right now, and I'm actually getting Mia a set for Christmas. I will show you guys in an upcoming vlog everything that I'm getting for the girls, but I will be getting some more instruments so that I can actually rotate which instruments are in this basket regularly. But right now it's basically still the same stuff we've had for a while. Just a little set of spoons, a little fish drum, hand drum thing. I don't know what this thing is called. I should probably actually look that up. A wooden recorder that I picked up for her at Easter time, a little egg shaker. Mia loves this one. And a little music box that I really like. This was a gift for Kylie from her grandmother. Actually, like, you can see how it works on the inside, which I think is really, really cool for a kid to be able to see and understand. So we've got those instruments, and then just some little shakers that I made myself a really long time ago for Kylie. This one has macaroni inside, this one has beads inside, and I just hot glued the lids shut. So I brought these out because Mia has been very interested in the little shaker. So I just wanted her to have different things to shake around that make different sounds. So right now those are just kind of all in that basket together. In this cubby right here, I have like a little farm set. So the barn itself is not wood. Obviously I would have preferred wood because natural materials are encouraged in Montessori, but this was one that we picked up for Kylie a long time ago, and it is made of recycled plastic. It's by the company Green Toys. They are a very reputable company and their products are very solidly made. It's not like a piece of junk like that would break. It's very, very solid. So we have this little barn, and then she has a couple of her farm animals in here. These are the Schleich farm animal set. And then this little horse is the Terra brand that I picked up at Target one day, just kind of randomly. And then she's also got a little hay in there and a little chicken. So I think she has a couple of other farm animals, but they might be upstairs with her right now and she's napping. So those are her little pretend play farm animal set. And I actually really like that this is accessible to Mia because Mia is very interested in looking up close at the little fine features on all the little animals. And it allows me to name things for her. Like if she pulls this out, I'll say, "Ooh, pig, that's a pig." And so it's kind of helping with her vocabulary development as well. And the last cubby right over here are Kylie's Magna tiles. She loves these things. Like, if I had to pick one toy that she has been obsessed with the entire year, it would be her Magna tiles. And I think it's because they are open-ended and they stack so easily. If you guys have never seen Magna tiles before, I mean, they're pretty cool, like all the things that they can do. And they have a couple different shapes that come with the set. They've got some equilateral triangles, some right triangles, some isosceles triangles, some large squares, and also a bunch of the smaller size squares. So she can build all kinds of things with these, and she loves to pretend with them. I mean, these things have been railroads and roads for her cars, and it has been houses and hospitals and barns and hotels, and you know, basically whatever her little imagination can come up with, she creates it out of her Magna tiles. And for that reason, I think that's why she really enjoys using these. And I envision these being a part of our playroom that will probably be here for a very long time to come, especially with the fact that Mia will eventually also be entering that stage of imagination and pretend play eventually. So Magna tiles, I would highly recommend these to every parent out there. So next to the cubbies, I have their bookcase, and I get so many questions about where I got this bookcase. So I'm gonna answer that right now. My husband built it for Kylie's first birthday. I knew that I wanted a front-facing bookcase because it's easier for a toddler to access the books by themselves, and even babies because of how low down it is. But it's also awesome because they can see the covers of the books, and it helps them to remember a lot easier which books are their favorites, and they can pull them off and open them up and read independently if they want to, as opposed to everything being stacked by the spines and having to like use their fingers to pry them out of the stack. That's a lot harder for a little kid to do. Not to mention they can't really tell which books are which just from the spines because most of the time it just has writing on it and they can't read yet. So I really love the front-facing bookcase, and I was looking for one that was white, that was made out of solid wood to kind of match the rest of the playroom, and unfortunately I could not find one that looked like this anywhere online. So I had my husband build one and it came out beautifully. So for those of you guys who might be handy with wood or you want to try your hand at making one yourself, I did have a DIY tutorial on how he made it posted on my blog, which is ourlittlenest.com. I will leave a link down below and you guys can see for yourself with photos and step-by-step instructions exactly how he made it. Now, as far as the books that are on here, some of these are our books that are on here all the time. The Montessori shape workbook, the Montessori letter workbook, which is a lot like the sandpaper letters, except in book form. And there's another one with numbers that I'm gonna be getting for Kylie soon. And there are like one or two other books on here that are ours, but most of them are from the library. And we go to the library, I would say, I used to aim for every week, but with a baby now it's a little harder. So we go like every 2 or 3 weeks and we rotate out all of the other books. So she has a constant new rotating selection of things to read. And I do try to pick out things that are nonfiction for her, again, in keeping with the whole no fantasy under the age of 6. But honestly, guys, if she picks out something that is entirely fiction, then I'm okay with that. I do try to steer her toward the nonfiction stuff for the most part. So as you can see, a lot of these things are kind of nonfiction based, but there are a couple of things that are completely fiction. And I'm okay with that. So right now I try to rotate books for both Kylie and Mia, now that Mia is kind of interested in listening to books being read to her and looking at pages and stuff. So I try to pull out things that would interest Mia also, like these touch and feel books are really fabulous. Anything with actual faces of other babies on it, she's really interested in, things like that. So it is a shared book collection at this point, not just for Kylie anymore. And as far as the number of books, I mean, this is kind of what I aim for. Sometimes I have less than this, but I feel like this is kind of the average number of books that I have out down here. The girls also have books upstairs in their rooms, and sometimes I'll pull out some of those titles and put them in there with the library books just for a little bit of extra rotation, I guess, but not always. So it's primarily library books. And then over here, like I said earlier, this is a lot more crowded because of the Christmas tree. Usually it's like this big open corner right here with just like her gross motor things. I've got her broom. This is an actual like toddler sized broom that Kylie likes to sweep with sometimes. I used to keep it over there by the kitchen because that's what made sense to me, but Mia has started pulling it down and trying to chew on the bristles, which I don't think is very sanitary. So I moved it over here where it's a lot harder for Mia to get to right now. And then once Mia stops doing that, it'll go back by the kitchen. I also have this little wagon, which Mia will be using soon once she learns how to start pulling up and walking, for her to transport things. That was one of Kylie's favorite toys when she was a lot younger. And then again, one of Kylie's vehicles. It's just a little large to fit on the shelf, but her little school bus, she loves that thing. A baby stroller, which Kylie has never really used for babies. We take it outside with us and she collects nature items in it. When she was younger, she used to put books in it and push the books around. So it's just another thing basically for her to transport items around the house, and I imagine Mia will probably be using it for that as well. So those are over there, and again, usually a lot more accessible when there's not a tree in the way. And then over here, this is kind of our large gross motor climbing structure that we chose for the inside of the house. I personally would love to have one of those wooden pickler triangles, but A, it's a little bit out of our budget, and B, I don't really think we have the space for it. I feel like it would take up the majority of the playroom if we did have one of those. So we just went with a slide, and Kylie loves it. She's had this thing since she was about 1, and she still uses it every single day, and I know Mia will too. So it gets out, you know, all the sliding and the climbing, and she tries to climb it but backwards, and it just provides an outlet for her to get out some of that like energy that she has built up sometimes, especially during the winter months when we're kind of snowed in and we can't really go outside because it's just far too cold. And even with the right attire on, it's just bitter cold outside sometimes. So it's nice to have something inside the house for her to climb around on safely and get out some of that excess energy. And then behind us here, this is the art area. So this used to be Kylie's weaning table. It used to be in the kitchen a long time ago. And then once Kylie started getting into art, I moved it out here and turned it into a little art space for her. It's actually just the IKEA children's table, and my husband modified one of the chairs to include arms on it because when Kylie was littler, she actually toppled out of the chair like 2 times. She didn't get injured or anything, but it definitely wasn't fun. So he added some arms onto one of the chairs for her, and then we left the other one as is, figuring that eventually Kylie would be able to use that chair and Mia will be using this chair. So we have this table here for that. Sometimes she'll eat snacks at it, but for the most part now it's just for art. And you can see next to her art table, we've got some artwork that she has worked on and is slowly adding to. It's like taking over this wall, but I don't have the heart to tell her no if she's proud of something and wants to hang it up. So we have her collection. I also have a picture frame here that I have had for years. I bought this in Costa Rica when I was a teacher. I purchased it. It's got real butterflies in it that are native to Costa Rica rainforests, and it is like a glass picture frame. And Kylie went through this obsession where she would look at it and want me to take it down. It was in our bathroom originally, off the bathroom wall, and I eventually decided, you know what, why have it in the bathroom where she can't see it? So I brought it down and I put it right here at her art table so that she can get an up-close look whenever she wants. Next to her art table is her art cart, and this is where we store all of her art supplies and art activities. On the top of it, I have kind of the stuff that's out all the time. So we've got a little paper here. We have a whole bunch of sticker books and random sticker pages that have fallen out of books. A little plain notebook that she scribbles in or sometimes rips pieces of paper out of just to draw on. There's a little basket of crayons, which the collection is growing because we keep getting gifted crayons from other people. But we started out with these like little chunky washable crayons, but she's actually getting really good now at holding normal size crayons. So we've got some of those in there too. These are paint sticks. They work like glue sticks, but they're paint. They're very vibrant and highly washable, and they're awesome. I love these things. So these are really fabulous, especially because they are like glue stick size. They're chunky, so they're really good for little hands, and Kylie loves them too. So we've got a whole basket of those for her to paint with, and they also dry really fast too, just in case you were wondering. I have a little mason jar with 2 different colors of chunky sidewalk chalk, and it's hard for me to get my fingers in here, but a little wooden eraser, which goes with this little chalkboard down here that I don't really have another place to store it, which is why it's down here. But that's her chalkboard. And then over here, I've got another mason jar with some colored pencils in it, a little ruler, a pen that she got recently at a birthday party, and then a little mug that just has a bunch of washable markers in it, a roll of tape because she always asks me for tape for all kinds of stuff, and a little tray full of washable finger paints in a variety of different colors. So we use those from time to time also. And I made this little color book for her. It's just some laminated pages with all the different colors of the rainbow on a little key ring, and I leave this up here as a reference for her. I think I originally made it for like a little color nature hunt that we took it outside with us, but she really likes it and she carries it around with her sometimes and uses it for other things. So I just keep it right here so that she can get to it. On this shelf, I just have one tray that has all of her kinetic sand and or Play-Doh supplies and tools at any given time. This is one of her favorite activities right now, is creating things out of Play-Doh or kinetic sand. So she has accumulated a bunch of tools. As you guys can see, this is the actual kinetic sand. I just keep it in a sealed container that she can get open by herself. It's like a little snap lock lid. But there's all these little tools, little cookie cutters from her kitchen, more IKEA baking tools that used to be over there. Little tea set, a little plastic knife that came as part of a Play-Doh set, a wooden rolling pin, a little biscuit cutter. Like, there's a whole bunch of things in here, and she uses all of them to create stuff. So this is just in one giant bin. It does look messy, and honestly guys, I've tried to organize it, but this is the size tray that fits in there, and it is a little small for the number of things that she has available. And I could pare down like what is available to her at any given time to make it fit. But inevitably, she asks me for all of these things again. Or if I put them back in her kitchen, she'll go run from her kitchen and take them back out and put them back in here. She's like a little squirrel. So I've kind of just decided to choose my battles, and I'm dealing with a messy kinetic sand tray because that is the way that she likes it. So as far as I'm concerned, as long as it's in the tray and it's contained and it gets put away at the end of the activity, then I am good with that. And then on the bottom level of the cart, I just have one tray with her painting supplies. This one is a lot neater and organized the way it should be. So we've just got one little can full of different size paintbrushes, her little sponge for cleaning things up, a little mason jar for some water, and then her watercolor palette. And then she knows to grab a piece of paper out of here whenever she needs it. So that's her painting tray. Now, as far as the possibility of Mia getting into the bottom part of this art cart, she has not done that yet. Like, she's definitely scooted over here and been around this area and reached under it, but she hasn't tried to reach into it and grab anything quite yet. I know that day is coming though. So right now I'm just taking a supervise her as much as possible approach. And when I see her start to reach her little hand in there, or once she starts pulling up and starts looking inside and trying to take things out, then I may have to rearrange and kind of figure out an alternate placement for some of the things that might be a little more dangerous for her to be playing with, like this little glass jar and, you know, this dirty little paint sponge and whatnot. But for now, I mean, it's been working for us, and she's almost 9 months old. So I would say for a younger baby, you can definitely still have things out that they, you know, shouldn't be playing with yet because they're not quite getting into it just yet. If I had to take a guess as to what I'm going to do, I will probably end up moving some of the safer stuff down to the bottom and moving that stuff up to the top. But again, I'll kind of assess once I see what's happening. I feel like when you have a baby and a toddler, a lot of it is about being flexible and just kind of adjusting as you see things need adjustment. And just in case you guys saw it and were wondering, I do have a little potty out for Kylie to use. She does know how to use the adult size potty now, but she still prefers this one about 90% of the time. So I have not taken it away out of the playroom yet. And honestly, if it ends up staying out until Mia starts potty training, then I'm totally fine with that. So that is why that is there. So that is my toddler and baby's shared Montessori playroom. Hopefully I was able to give you guys a couple of ideas on kind of how to set things up, maybe even some activity ideas for your toddler or baby at home. I do actually have previously recorded tours of Kylie's playroom before it was Kylie and Mia's playroom as well. Back from when she was a baby, I had a couple of them that I did actually. I think when she was about 7 months old, another one when she was 11 months old, and then a third one when she was about 16 months old. So if you are interested in seeing any of my previous playroom tours, and you can also get an idea as to how our playroom has evolved over time, I will leave links to all 3 of those video tours in the description box down below, and you guys can check those out too. If you guys have any great ideas on how to set up a shared playroom, then please be sure to leave your suggestions in the comments down below, because I'm sure the rest of us would love to hear what other people's experiences are as well. And just in case you are new to my channel, I did want to let you know that this video is part of a larger series called Montessori at Home, which is aimed at providing practical tips and advice for busy parents like you and I for implementing Montessori philosophies at home with your children. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in learning more about, then you might consider subscribing to my channel. This way you don't miss a new video, because I do upload a new one just like this one every single week. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.